Alright, welcome to an interesting game. So, just as a note, I had thrown this particular team together that you see on the left here, the Koraidon-Miraidon team, where they're both running choice items, as, honestly, a bit of a meme team. I was looking for footage for a video idea that I had, and just put that team together, because I'm like, you know what, this is going to allow me to do what I want to do with Miraidon and Koraidon. I've got the necessary support, so they should each be able to get an attack off, because I wanted to use the animation. Instead, what ends up happening is the following video, which I actually thought was an interesting essay on speed tiers. Now, speed tiers are something that I have waffled back and forth about, because sometimes I think, yeah, speed tiers, a lot of the game relies on it, and, you know, he who moves first oftentimes has a much better chance of succeeding because your attacks go off first. But on the flip side, it's like, okay, well, yeah, you've got your speed tiers, but if you can just take the attacks and hit back, well, you should be able to win that way too. And, well, over this past weekend, actually, I participated in a Victory Road tournament that was a very interesting experience, and I intend to make an entire video about that. Fantastic tournament. But it served as a very brutal reminder for me of the importance of speed tiers. And this particular game, I think, actually illustrates that concept really, really well. Because right now, what you can see, I have Miraidon and I have Urshifu out there, and both of these outspeed the other side of the field, which means that I am very much in control of the first stage of this game. So right now the Brute Bonnet can't do a whole lot to disrupt me besides using Rage Powder, which it is very welcome to do, but just immediately go for the Terra Electric, because Terra Electric choice specs on Miraidon is just silly in the sheer amount of damage that it inflicts, and so the Brute Bonnet can't actually spore any of my Pokemon because of the electric terrain that the Miraidon has, and my opponent has no way of removing that. As you can see, we do like 80% with the choice specs Terra Electric, Electro Drift, and it was resisted. Close Combat comes out from the Urshifu, drops the Archaludon to super low health, so ultimately that was a very successful hit in my opinion. Stamina's great, but stamina kind of ceases to matter at a certain point if your overall health is too low, because then anything will be able to knock you out. They go for the Pollen Puff into the Urshifu. It does finish off my Urshifu, but honestly, his work is done. So he goes back into the Pokeball. And then, to complete the meme dream team, Koraidon comes out next. And, yep, so here he comes. I did have the Indeedee in the back specifically so that I could redirect things if I needed to. Just to keep the sweep to keep the sweep going, keep the sweepers alive. And yeah, we'll see in just a moment. But again, I'm still very much in control of this particular situation. Their Pokemon are both very low HP, and there's little to no there's little to no opportunity for them to really do much of anything unless they have unless they have something in the back that can safely switch into these attacks. But based off of their team, there's not a lot they have by way of options that are going to be able to come into those particular attacks. So the Brute Bonnet does go for the Sucker Punch, which allows it to get a little bit of damage off into the Miraidon. Not really enough to swing the overall state of the game, because then here goes the Electro Drift, and that will finish off the Archaludon. And now not only am I a Pokemon up in this game, but I still have a very significant speed advantage on their team as a whole, which was built much more around that middle speed tier, which is where Kyogre falls, which is where Archaludon falls. Ursaluna, of course, is there. Ursaluna could have come in for the Miraidon, but did not. The game, of course, is by no stretch of the imagination over, but I am, once again, going to get 2 attacks off. In this case, though, I'm going to go for the Electro Drift into the Calyrex, because the Calyrex is the biggest threat to my side of the field at the moment, and also because my Miraidon's locked into Electro Drift. It can't actually hit the bear. Bear is currently immune to Miraidon, so Koraidon has to deal with it. If I take the time to swap out, swap back in, then I'm probably going to get in a situation where I Basically where the Calyrex would have the turn he needs to set up Trick Room, and ultimately that's just not going to go well. So as you can see though, they have a Terra Steel on the Calyrex, very helpful as a defensive Terra unless you're sitting in front of a Koraidon. Instead, however, as you can see, we just chuck the Flare Blitz into the Ursaluna, dropping it to next to no health. That insult to injury, I get lucky with the burn. The impressive thing about it being that Blood Moon Ursaluna is actually very, very bulky on the physical side. It's not especially bulky, but you know, on the special side of things. But on the physical side, very bulky Pokemon. And then, yes, we run into a Rage Quit situation. Understandable, though. Like, that hurt a lot. So, Calyrex Ice can be trained to be bulky enough to take an Electro Drift from a Choice Specs Miraidon, but that was taking into account the Fairy Terra version of it. If you have Miraidon with an Electric Terra and Choice Specs, I haven't run the numbers, but without like maximum investment, I don't actually know if Calyrex is able to take that. Anyway, though, what you ended up seeing in that particular game is definitely why speed tiers do matter and really do need to be taken into consideration when you're building a team and with how the team is going to function. Because in that particular game, my opponent got off 1, 2, 3 attacks. They would have gotten off a 4th one there at the very end. Because in the first turn, both sides exchanged attacks. In the second turn, so they got 2 there. In the second turn, they got off a Sucker Punch because it's a priority move, but then I knocked out both of their Pokemon. And then in the third turn, which was that last turn, I knocked out their Calyrex before it had a chance to move, and all but knocked out the bear. So that would have been their final attack right there. So yeah, speed in general is extraordinarily important to take into consideration when building teams, and I'll definitely have a much longer essay about that in the very near future. Regardless, though, thank you for watching today's video. Hope you have a fantastic day, and yeah, hope to see you in the next one.